Hello everyone and welcome to another video. My name is Taya and this is Glenny. Today we're working on the fifth build in our fruit furniture series, oranges. So I have this strip of beach right beside here, and then I have the campsite right behind this orange area that I'm planning. At a lot of campgrounds, they have a little welcome desk with a little cafe. So this is kind of my welcome to Glenny cafe. And I think it's cute in front of the campsite and just up from my canal. It makes sense because oranges are my native fruit, so that worked out really nicely. And I'm really excited to show you guys this build. So let's get into the Island Designer app and start up some construction. So the first thing that I should have done is outline my path, but I started on the flowers. So I just put in the flowers where I'm thinking that I want them. I do end up changing this quite significantly, but it's also just a nice way to get the flowers out of my pockets and kind of get a better idea of how many flowers I have to work with. I did choose the orange windflower to pair with the oranges, and I chose the wooden corral fencing to go with the oranges. I feel like it's just really fun, a really fun type of fencing that I don't see very often, and I did get a lot of use out of different types of fencing that I'd never thought of before when doing these builds, so it was a really fun experiment for myself. In watching back, I'm thinking, why didn't you put down the flooring at this point? Because I do end up having to lift up all the items and put the flooring down, but I'm just so excited to start placing down these orange end tables. They're so much fun, and I love that they have a couple of different customizations as well. So there's the brighter orange, and then there's the blood orange as well. So heading back to my house to gather some wood so that I can actually craft some more of them, because they do require both regular wood and oranges to be built. So yeah, just kind of planning out how many more I'm gonna need. I think I craft 2 right now. No, yeah, 2. No, customize. And as I was kind of preparing to do this, I had all the items laying out, and so I was able to kind of see them in that space and get a feel for them. Another thing that I did was actually create in Photoshop some collections of the different items together. Kind of like what you would see with like a lookbook for interior designers or something like that. Just kind of taking it from Nookazon images and just putting together all the items onto a page with a couple of the actual fruits, the kind of flower that I wanted, the kind of even house plant that I was pairing with each area, because I actually chose a different house plant to go with each of them too. I know maybe it's just a little OCD, but I really wanted these areas to each feel very unique. I know a lot of people actually just use the fruit furniture as like one build together, and they kind of combine all the fruit furniture. But I really feel like each of the sets is so distinctive and fun, and especially when you use the hats and the dresses and the umbrellas in a decorative way within the spaces, it actually builds itself up to be quite a substantial little collection. And then of course you can mix that collection in with DIY furniture, even cataloged furniture in a way that you like, and it actually can build out to be its own unique area without having to be combined with all the fruit furniture. So I do run to get a couple more oranges so that I can make another table, and I'll customize that in the blood orange as well, so that I have 2 tables that are just the regular orange and 2 tables that are the blood orange, so that I can vary them in the space. I spent quite a lot of time just trying to get the bench colors so that they don't feel repetitive. and also the positioning of the benches. So you can see the way that I've got it turned. You can see through the bench and you can see the shape of it from the side. And then you can also see it straight on. So I play around a lot with how I'm going to face them towards where the camera will be. Also thinking about how it's going to look from the bridge across the way there, across the river, because there is a nice viewpoint for it, and it ends up turning out really cute. There's a pretty nice view over from the other side. It's agonizing for me to see all these items going down and there's no padding on the ground. Damn, what were you thinking? I think what I thought was that I would be doing this on grass, which would be a different look than any of the other builds that I did for the fruit furniture. I think that's why I end up changing it eventually, because I'm like, you know what? I do not want this one to just have grass and all the other ones have proper flooring, so I do end up changing that. I forgot to mention earlier, but the way that I'm handling this gap between the fences, because they can't perfectly align because of the beach kind of juts in at that point, so I'm just putting taller items through that area. I do end up moving the Monstera back into the corner, and it disguises that awkward gap quite a bit. Again, I'm using these fruit crates by Pochi AC&H on Twitter. Their designs are beautiful and they have all the different crates for all the different furniture, so I thought it's an excellent one to share with you guys for these builds because you can use it for all of your builds. I do end up using a different one for the apples just because there was one that was a little more full looking, but definitely it's a one-stop shop for all of the crates easily. So yeah, just putting down the items, picking them up, deciding to do different things. I put down this umbrella in a billion different ways because I don't know whether I want the box to face in a different direction. And I need to make another umbrella. There it is. The umbrellas for the oranges are beautiful. They're just so colorful and bright and really have that citrus. They're just so fun. For the pears, I had a lot more trouble with dealing with those little seeds, but the orange design I love. I don't have any problem with it. So here I am finally picking up all the items and putting down path underneath. So I will just skip forward because you do not need to see me doing all of this path work. There it is. Okay, and now we're getting back into my dilemmas with coloring of the stools. So I start to think, you know what? I've got too many yellow stools, I've got too many white stools, and end up going back and forth quite a bit on the stool layout. So it was quite late at night, so I do end up doing a lot more movement than I typically would, but that's kind of the way that it goes with builds sometimes, and I'm going to try to not be hard on myself because just because I can't lay it down and get it right the first time doesn't mean that I'm not going to share my process. This is my process, and I'm really proud of the way that things turn out on my island, and so I feel like it's valid to share, even if it's difficult for me to edit. Please let me know what you guys are thinking of all of my videos. I really appreciate feedback on anything you might have to say to me about my content. I want to get better and I want to continue to make really great stuff. So this island is, like I was saying, about 90% point for me. It's just a few more areas of cleanup to do. And if you watched my most recent video that I actually posted today in real time, it's a let's play and it kind of has a little bit of an updated tour minus some of the fruit areas that are still under construction as of me filming that video. So you don't see this one and you don't see peaches yet because that one's not done. However, it is kind of a little bit of a tour around the island as well, so you kind of get a better look at the spaces that have already been built. There's only a few beach spaces and random little areas that need to be completed now, so I think I might just do a video where I'm just polishing off little areas of my island, because I think we're at that point right now. And then we can start to discuss what the next version of Glenny is going to be, and I cannot wait. I spoke a lot last time in the pair video about potentially doing kidcore or my version of kidcore, and that's something that's still very much on the table. And the closer that I get to finishing this island, the more I'm down for that. And I don't know what it would be like, because I see a lot of people saying when you're starting a new island that you should start with the entrance. And I love my entrance, so I'm super hesitant to like rip it down. And if I don't like it, then I will be sad. But that's kind of the way it goes. That's the way the cookie crumbles with Animal Crossing. You can either keep your island or you can restart it. Please let me know your thoughts. Do you restart your island, or do you flatten? I think the progress is something that I will be very sad to give up. I still haven't completed my Critterpedia. I still haven't completed my museum in this island. I haven't gotten all of the golden tools yet. And I know that there are treasure islands. I'm definitely not against treasure islands. I go to them quite frequently. But there are just some things that I don't do from a treasure island. Like, I will not donate fish that I get on a treasure island for some reason. I don't know. I won't get as many hybrid flowers. I have gotten hybrid flowers from treasure islands before, but I don't typically go crazy on that either. It's totally, everybody's gameplay is a little different. I'm not trying to judge anybody if you do that. That's totally cool. It's just, if I were to wipe out this island, I would feel like I was behind on my progress. Plus, just all of the DIYs that you collect, that would be a lot of trips back and forth to a treasure island to get all the DIYs. Actually, you should like do the math on that. Aren't there like 260 DIYs? So I just looked it up. Scratch that. There are 640 DIYs in this game. 640. And if you divide 640 by 40, because that's the amount of pocket space that you have, it would take you 16 trips to treasure islands to get all those DIYs back. And that's not even talking about cataloged items. My catalog of items is huge. Just getting that catalog built up would be a struggle too. The literally only reason why I would choose to reset my island versus just flattening is if I had a major problem with where my airport is or my airport color, which I don't. It's a blue airport and my resident services is quite far away from my airport. I think by the time that I got my Switch in November, it was already kind of a joke in the Animal Crossing community, or a tragedy, you could say, when people were saying my entrance is so close and I hate it, whatever they were saying at that time, I picked up on. So when I was starting my island for the very first time, I already had that in mind, that I was going to try to get a resident services that had some distance so that I could do my pretty fountain entrance. However, it's kind of fun to have a different island. I would be happy to try out different layouts in the future, but I think that's something that I kind of have to leave for when I have a second Switch, because that is something that I'm interested in. I think it would be super fun to be able to design and play on two different islands. There's so many villagers that I love that having two different islands would mean that I would be able to have a totally different set of villagers, and I wouldn't have to feel so bound to only 10. And then also just being able to, if you're bored of one style of island, go to the next style and have something totally different. That'd be really fun. Plus, then you can send yourself things too. So it's a little bit easier to get all the items back that you want, because you're not really starting fully from scratch. You still have your other island. Also for dream addresses, it works out a little bit better when you have a second switch, because you can just keep that island going and then move on with your new switch island, and you don't actually lose that save file. It also keeps the dream addresses clean too, because that's my one other thing too, is if I finish this island and I flatten it, then my dream address will only last until the next time that I update my island. And that might make me sad to write over it after I'm done building my next island. Then I would have to wipe out my first version of Glenny in order to save my second version of Glenny. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I really would love to know. Do you flatten or do you restart? And how do you deal with the dream address issue? How do you deal with getting all your catalog items back? It's really a dilemma that I've been thinking a lot about lately. Back to the build, I'm just really wrapping it up, this umbrella, because I looked back on the bridge here, got a little view of it. I'm really happy with how cute, it really just makes me feel good. So I'm just going and grabbing some street lights now, putting these in. I think just adds a little bit more height to the whole area. It also ties this campsite area into the more main part of my island that has a lot more street lamps. So another lighting option too for the orange area at night. Some of these fruit builds have been a little bit dark at night, and I think I might set my dream address to nighttime cherry blossoms, because I really took time when I was assembling my island to include lighting throughout so that it looks very special at night. And I think I'm considering setting my dream address not fully at night, but in the evening after sunset, so Abel's and Nook's would still have their lights on, but it would just be a little bit darker outside. Maybe it still has a bit of twilight to it. I don't know, that's kind of the timing that I'm thinking of. And cherry blossoms is just, I can't get over it, especially watching these fruit builds back, because by now we're out of cherry blossom season, but just seeing these back and seeing cherry blossoms floating around, it really is special. And here Apollo is joining me, and I have to blush because look, he loves the orange area. So cute. I love when they do that. I mean, sometimes it's annoying because you're in the middle of building and they just plop themselves down, but he was being quite polite. Admiring the place. What a treasure. And now the final touches, spinning benches around until I get them spun the right way that will work nicely. And yep, spin them all back. Literally spin them all back. Aha, the old switcheroo. So that just about does it, folks. Thank you so much, and I'll leave you to present day Taya to do the outro, and we'll get some quality B-roll shots of this place with all the flowers grown in. All right, we're in a new day, and we're here to see the completed Orange Cafe. It's actually a new day in real life as well. I did this quite late at night, so I apologize for any confusing movements around. I just like everything to be very much the way that I intended from my mental image of it. And this is exactly what I wanted for the orange area. I wanted it to be fun, cute, bright, and colorful with all the orange. So I did include 3 trees in this spot. it was surprisingly hard to work with the orange furniture because this table is so small. So these stools are a little bit large. However, I kind of like the playfulness of it and the fact that they do almost feel like secondary tables. Every table has at least one chair that can sit at it. I did face them in different directions just for the fun of it too. This area is cute because it's very near to my campsite. Very, very near. It's right in front of my campsite. And orange is my native fruit on this island. So I feel that having oranges this close to the campsite is kind of a way to say to the campsite visitor, check out our native fruit. Why don't you have a glass of orange juice while you're here? Grab a fresh orange and enjoy. This is part 4 in a 6-part series on all of the fruits. So we have already covered, we're actually halfway with this one. So we've already covered coconuts, cherries, and pears. And now we're into oranges, peaches, and apples. So this one done. We have 2 more to go. Stay tuned, subscribe so you can see all of those updates, and also let me know if you're planning on using the orange set of furniture and what furniture items did you combine with it. But until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye!